Hello everybody. So I'm going to tell you an account that my dad told me about him meeting Jimi Hendrix. Not once, but twice. And during the lockdown, me and my dad working together, stopped for a tea break. We've got the radio playing, and a Hendrix track comes on the radio. Where we're working, or where the workshop is, it looks out onto Ilkley Moor. I says to him, I says, you know that Hendrix played in Ilkley, don't you, at the Troutbeck Hotel? And so he's like, yeah, I'd heard that he'd played Ilkley, but I didn't know whereabouts it was. So my dad grew up in a children's home in London, and during the 60s and 70s he was here, there and everywhere around London. He was a hippie, camped out at Stonehenge with Joan Baez. And I says, you know, when you were laking about in London, I says, did you ever come across Hendrix? He said, oh yeah. I says, I met him twice. So I'm a bit floored by this. You met Hendrix twice? He goes, yeah. He goes, used to work on a building site. One of his mates that he worked with on this building site was this black kid. And he worked on the door at the Ram Jam Club in Brixton. And he says he used to let us in for free. And my dad would collect glasses and work behind the bar sometimes and stuff like that. And he says, one night he's in there midweek, quietish, and he says this fella comes in dressed in a, smartly dressed in a suit, and he's got this black fella walks in behind him with two lasses in tow. Come and sat down on the table next to where my dad was, and my dad starts talking to him, and he says, he was an American guitarist that had come over, just arrived in Britain, and was wanting to make his way in the world. So I said, really? He's like, yeah. So the guy in the suit, I'm assuming, must have been Chas Chandler, and I would imagine that possibly one of the two ladies that was with him would have been Kathy Etching. So I said, well, did he play? What was he like, And he goes, well, he was, to talk to, he was really quiet, really sort of mild-mannered, inquisitive about everything that was going on in the club and stuff. And he said, but he got up and jammed with the house band, which was the Ram Jam band. And he said he jammed a couple of songs with them. Didn't really do anything that made you think he was something special. Just sort of went through the motions with him and came back down, and him and my dad and Chaz and the two ladies that were with him shared a bottle of vodka, and then a few more people came in. So my dad spent most of the evening chatting with him. So in September '66, Jimi Hendrix flew over to England with Chaz, and he didn't have a work permit or a visa to work at the time, so he couldn't play for long on stage. So what Chaz would do, because Jimmy obviously wanted to be out there playing, because that's what he does, Chaz would take him to the quieter venues, get him involved, jamming just a couple of tracks, a couple of songs with him, and get him off the stage. And that was how he sort of got him to mingle. So I thought, okay, that's really, why have you never told me about this before? And then he says, probably a month, 2 months later, he came back. But this time, when he came back, he had his band. So Noel Redding, Mitch Mitchell, the Jimi Hendrix Experience. And so this time it was totally different. They played a set on stage, and he couldn't really get near Jimmy to chat for too long. He took him a bottle of vodka over, said hello, had a few words, and that was that. So that's my dad meeting Jimi Hendrix on 2 occasions. Now, I've had a scout around the old internet, and sure enough, Hendrix did play at the Ram Jam Club in '66, late '66, and he also played a couple of gigs with the Jimi Hendrix Experience in 1967 at the Ram Jam Club. So I was just totally amazed by the fact that my dad's met all sorts of people, and he just never tells you, but he knows how much I enjoy Jimmy's music and how influential he's been to me playing. And I just couldn't believe it. It just blew my mind that he's never even thought that this was important. I mean, it's maybe not important to anybody else but to me, but yeah, it just took my mind away. So my dad and Jimi Hendrix in the Ram Jam Club drinking vodka. There you are. So if you've got any accounts of your own, please let me know, because I love all this sort of stuff. I love hearing about these little gems where these legendary performers and musicians that have changed the world were just so humble and just sat there and played with anybody and everybody that wanted to play with them. So yeah, let me know. So thank you for watching, and if you'd like to subscribe and like, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you very much. My dad and Jimi Hendrix.